Hey, welcome back to another one of our Kristin and Charlie chats. We are diving into success principles in these chats. And today we are going to dive into one of both of our favorites, and that is practicing persistence. What does that look like in terms of raising blind and low vision kiddos, having progressive vision loss, or having full vision loss and navigating a world that you can't see, in addition to other struggles and challenges that come our way? So let's dive into this one.
Well, it's good to be back with you, Kristin, doing our chats. We definitely persist and have a good chat, and we hope this brings value to you and helps you on your journey. You said persist. I was thinking practicing persistence, and then it's like practicing these principles in all our affairs. How we navigate and go through life. And one of them is persistence. It's like, I need to persist. I'm going to hit walls. I'm going to hit no's. I'm going to hit frustrations. I'm going to blame. I'm going to complain sometimes. I'm not going to take responsibility. I'm going to say, maybe this isn't possible. All that's going to happen. I know that because it still does to me. I'm not cured. I have a daily reprieve. And I find that by practicing persistence with patience, and I mean patient with myself. Don't be so hard on myself. Don't say, you always do that wrong. You're never going to do it. That old language that could crop up so easily for me, that I need to take a breath, step back, and say, I made a mistake. That, whatever it might be, and get back into the game of practicing persistence. So that's why they don't say be persistent. They say practice I don't know who they are, okay? So let's just change that to, it's not about being, it's about practicing and being more kind and loving towards yourself. Because I don't know, Kristin, have you made a mistake lately? I know I have.
Let me check my calendar. Maybe 5 minutes ago when I couldn't get the laptop going. Hey, us just creating these videos is a case study in practicing persistence with the technology and being in remote areas and whatnot. But yeah, you know what, Charlie? It didn't dawn on me that the word practice, I think, is what I love about this, as opposed to just being, because I tend to be one of those people that likes to set the goal, do the work, achieve it, check the box, and move on. But persistence is something that we really do have to practice every single day. And I think one of the most key things, it's actually, I think that people should adopt this as a mantra. One of the key points in this principle is, it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be easy. I feel like we are in a culture where we just want the easy road. We want to check the box. We want to move on to the next thing. And when we come up against obstacles, even some of us, I'm a pretty determined person. If I hear no or can't figure something out, I'm a stick with it kind of girl. I'll stick with it for a while, but then I get to a point where I'm like, I'm going down the wrong path. Clearly, I'm banging on the wrong door. I got to go somewhere else. When I look back on my journey and see some of the things that I walked away from, I think, gosh, I wonder if I would have just stuck with it longer, practiced persistence, kept going with that pitch to a few more movie producers. Would that movie be out there already? Would my journey have looked differently? And I only say that, that's not being a negative self-talk. I say that because I watched the parts of my journey where I did persist. I mean, putting out the book Thriving Blind, persisting, practicing persistence with that, with getting it in accessible formats, figuring out how to sit my speaking self down and actually write for a few months, all the things that it takes to put a bestseller in the world. That was a lot of persistence, and that was very successful. So I think, man, what if I would have done the other things with persistence? But like you said, Charlie, give myself some empathy and look at it as what we talked about in another video. I'm just on the constant, never-ending improvement.
We all need a little breathing space, a little breathing room. I'm not sure why some are overachievers, some are underachievers. And I believe the underachievers don't understand these principles, that if practice in a systematic way makes for the journey to be more enjoyable, because it isn't about the end. It's about the journey for me. It's about who I become, how I become stronger. It's not about what I'm going to get. It's like, what am I going to be able to give along this journey? Who am I going to be able to serve and help and bring along this mission? I mean, the mission of the Thriving Blind Academy. It's going to talk. It's going to take an awful lot of practicing and persistence, because we're up against a big bias. We're up against a world that still, and I don't know in our lifetime, this is way bigger than you and I, but I don't know in our lifetime if it will transform the out there. But we will work with the families and the individuals to help them see more clearly and to know that, like you said, it's not going to be easy. It is simple, but it isn't easy. And those two things confuse me. Well, isn't simple easy? No. It's simple to go downstairs and work out in the morning. It's not hard. I know how to do it. But what's not easy is the little guy telling me, you're a little tired today. Maybe, oh wait, I think you did a little too much yesterday. You know, the story that engages me to pull me away. But I'm practicing persistence. Charlie, you committed to constant, never-ending improvement. You also committed. You're not interested in working out, because interested doesn't get me anywhere. It gets me maybe in the door. But I've got to turn from interested into commitment, because if I made a commitment, and you know what, Kristin, here's the problem, a lot of failure where we stop practicing persistence is, I'm going to work out 7 days a week, 2 times a day, because I haven't been good and I need to punish myself in a way. I need to do it so much. And 3 days in, I've already failed. So what's the sense anyway? I'm never going to be. You know, that story engages. That's not what this is about, practicing persistence. It's saying, I told myself I was going to work out 3 days a week. I missed one. How can I improve on that? Well, let's start today again. That's all I have, you know?
Yeah, you know, in terms of the persistence too, when you were talking about the, you know, us working with changing people, the individuals and families, and being persistent with this mission, I honestly believe that this practicing persistence is, if it's not in the top 2, it's in the top 3 of the reasons that my Michael has been so successful in college and beat that horrible statistic. You know, 85% of blind and low vision students that enter college drop out. 85% drop out. And I honestly see it as, now these kids have the aptitude, they have the attitude, they have enough success and a good educational foundation to be in college in the first place. But when I watched the obstacle after obstacle after obstacle on these Michael was at 2 different campuses, both of them not built for somebody that cannot access the world through vision. When I watched all those obstacles, yes, Michael takes 100% responsibility, one of the key principles. And yes, he's always improving and he does all these things and he believes in himself. But without persistence, that is what I believe is crushing college students, blind college students, that they just aren't practicing persistence. I don't want to say persistent enough because that sounds judgy. It's adopting this principle and having it as a lifestyle of practicing persistence helps you have that mindset of, like you're saying, Charlie, with working out. For me, I do not like running other than being chased or chasing a ball, but I run every single day that the weather allows or the time at the gym allows, because I feel it makes me feel at my best. So I don't worry about the motivation. Do I feel like going? Do I have something else I want to do? It's about, I'm persistent with it because I know that it makes me feel in a frame of mind of success and thriving and productive and happy. Maybe because it's when the run is over, I'm like, whoa, I am done with that I don't really like to do. So, but I see that with Michael as he went through his college career, he's about to graduate. He was persistent because he had these goals he wanted to achieve. He wanted to get into certain classes. He wanted to excel in his major. He's got jobs that he wants. So his commitment to practicing persistence was deep rooted in his success mindset.
And just so many things I wanted to comment on, but one of them is that you and I seem to, in our chats, make up words, and I believe you just did. I'm not sure if judgy is a word, but he said, I don't want to be judgy. I like that.
That's in the Kristin phonics.
We'll have our own dictionary, don't we? The TBA dictionary of success. So what stops us? I feel the courage to do something. And I know I went to college for a little while, but I was one of the dropouts, the failures, and I called myself a failure, a loser, because it wasn't fair. Everybody else has it easier. Don't they understand? I don't know who they are, and I don't know who I could talk to understand that, but nobody would listen because they would say, I wasn't taking responsibility. So my parents said, just do it, be persistent. I don't have the mental capabilities to fail over and over. I recoil from like a hot flame. Mm. So I went to the campus, I walked around, I tried to navigate. I don't have any training going into this. I didn't have a parent like you that understood the mind of a blind person, the struggles, the obstacles, and all that stuff. So they just said, have at it. And I don't have the tools to be persistent, to practice. I failed over and over, and I finally stopped. I just stopped going. I can't do this anymore. I would rather die than go back to that campus again. And I did not fail out of college. I feared out. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the transition program that we're building to offer to somebody like me that says, guess what? You land on that campus. I can't say it, but it's going to be scary. And it is not going to be easy. But if you practice persistence on a daily basis, face your fears, take responsibility. Here we go with the combination I talked in the other one. I'm sorry, you're going to have to watch that one. I'm not going to say it again. But anyway, if you do these things, you will start overcoming and walking through and building your confidence and knowing and celebrate those little wins you have. That's where my practicing persistence gets stronger. Don't you? You see it in the kids and yourself. I see it in me. I see it in my kids.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely celebrating the wins. And you actually just outlined the foundation of when you're raising blind and low vision kids, that where the parent role comes in, that is so critical in terms of practicing persistence in those early years. And for parents that are listening, that are on this journey and you're in the early years, I feel you, I get you, and I got you, because it is exhausting to be persistent in those early years. When you're trying to get public schools to understand that they have to educate your child at the same level as the other kids. When you're scrambling all over to find the tools, the accessibility tools, the technology, all of that, which if you in the academy, we in our mentorship calls and our trainings and stuff and master classes, we go into all of that stuff. But even with this resource, it can be exhausting to set that foundation and to be persistent with getting your child what they need and being their guide on the side. Not doing it all for them, being their guide on the side. But the payoff of that is, and a friend of mine that works in the fatherhood space always says, more is caught than taught. The kids learn about being persistent from watching us be persistent, right? And Charlie, you know that from your kids watched you be persistent, and you've got some very successful girls that practice persistence. And when you lay that foundation, then that is one of the other differentiators of my boys having a parent like me that was committed to improvement and being persistent. They learned how to be that way also, got the foundation that they needed with all the tools that you were talking about, Charlie, and then are able to go out in the world and do the same thing. But it is, I'm hoping that people realize when you're raising a blind and visually impaired child, that is a big part of your taking 100% responsibility to be persistent to get them the access they need.
And thank you for naming one of our modules in our transition program. Be the guide on the side. That's powerful right there. Don't enable, but be the guide on the side. Because I don't know the tools to life when I'm younger like that. I don't know. I didn't have that guide on the side. I didn't have that encouragement. I didn't know that I should practice, that the first time might not be just fluid. I might not, so that's what I mean. I'm so grateful that we have come together, that we co-founded this academy together, that we, with your experience, I mean, come on, the suffering side of this experience, the struggles, the aha moments, Michael waking you up, said, stop. I mean, he did it on campus. Get out of here, Mom. Let me go, would you? I'm not in your womb anymore. Yeah, and you went, and then we talked more. It's like this constant, never-ending improvement. It's like, who was I truly thinking of in that moment? Practicing persistence. I wanted to feel good about him. He needs to feel good about him. And I need to love him along his journey and allow him to fail, make mistakes, and to succeed and celebrate it all with him. That's I don't know. That's where I'm happy to be a part of this, the game of life.
Right? And with everything you just said, Charlie, think about this. So for folks that are watching that aren't familiar with my journey with Michael, my oldest that's blind and is now graduating Penn State, my point to this whole thing of laying the foundation and then, as the guide on the side, and then you can watch them soar as they adopt all these principles also. We started at this little preschool that was built for special education, and it brought in regular education kids. And it was a pretty big preschool, but we started at that little school, then move into a K-12 system that was not at all built for blind and low vision students. We forced a curriculum there, and as we went, I don't know if you're familiar with how they're building these schools these days, Charlie, but they are huge. And in the glossary of terms of Kristin, it is ginormous. These schools are so big. So as we went from the little preschool to the big elementary school to the insanely big middle school, and then the ginormous, oh my God, it looks like a college, high school, all of these transitions with the foundation of these success principles being instilled in Michael. Then he goes off and ends up at this huge college campus that he figured out how to navigate. Here's the best part. All of those success principles and the foundation in education and literacy and the skills of independence as a blind person, all these years of doing that, Michael is now, he was offered a job at Disney in Orlando and can live on property there, that massive property. So he has access to the whole transit system and all of that. But I thought, wow, what a story of it's like a visual of what this process is of living the success principles and instilling them in our kids, that you can go from this little small world and take a bigger step, a bigger step, a bigger step. And I can say, I know Charlie might not believe me, with 100,000% honesty and accuracy that I am not worried at this point of Michael going down to Orlando, living there and working there. I am actually excited for him. I was nervous at every transition, and he has proven to me each time, and he points it out to me all the time, that I need to trust that he has the foundation he needs, and he will persist and take responsibility and succeed. So now I'm at a point, he's only 22 years old, and I have never been more excited to let go and see him soar. It's been quite, Michael has raised me well.
I know. My dog takes me on a walk every day. I hear you. Well, I know what you mean. We're students. We're same thing. I was saying. My kids teach me so much, and like you just said, and that's why I said my dog takes me on a walk every day. I say you're in charge. I learned so much from him. His patience, his unconditional love, his non-judgy. I had to use our new word. So I think we've all heard this. Our child comes home from school and says, "My teacher is so stupid," or "They don't teach me right," or "They gave me a bad." But really, the blame is on the teacher. And I asked my daughter, I said, "Well, who's the student in the classroom?" "I am." "Well, how come you're not the teacher, since you know more?" "Well, Dad, that's a dumb question." "No, there's a reason that the teacher's the teacher and you're the student." And maybe this isn't linking up, but do you think you could look at it in a different way and try this a few times? Because I can guarantee you, this aha moment, this equation, this formula, this video sequence, this email sequence, this thing that looks like it's so complex, but once I figure it out, I can say it's because I got hard, I stepped away. It got hard, I didn't blame and I took responsibility. I'm struggling right now, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to come back to this. And over time, all of a sudden you look back and you say, it's like a no-brainer anymore. I can do it with my eyes shut. I can do it with my ears plugged. It's become a part of who I am. And that's the journey of life. We master, we keep moving, we keep practicing. And it's never gonna be clear sailing. It's never gonna be just sliding down the road to easy success. I was not the type of person like you. I was not, I didn't have goals. I didn't know really. No one ever taught me that. I didn't know about all these things. So I kind of was a rudderless ship. A rudder in a ship goes down, however those are, but they help keep the ship, the sailboat, whatever it is, on course. Okay? And when you move them, it helps direct you in the direction towards the goal, the waypoint, the place you want to take this boat. And if you pull that out, the centerboard, this boat will go wherever the ocean takes it. You have no control. And that's what I was living life like. I would wake up and life would blow me in all directions and my fingers were pointing all the time. It's your fault that I'm struggling because I didn't have a stake in the ground. I didn't have these principles where I could put my centerboard down and start taking control of the direction of my life. And that's where this stuff, it's changed my life. And like you said, because of that, my biggest why, I have affirmations and things I do, but my number one why in my existence is to be the best role model I can be for my children. I never tell them to do anything or suggest unless I do it, unless I practice it. I go the extra mile. I'm kind. If I don't have this is my wife. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's not fair. So, you know what I mean? This is that's why I'm so excited that we built this academy, because we saw that persistence was not getting practice. People were going into college, dropping right out. Why? They hit a roadblock. They don't have the tools on how to work through that. Why are these kids in high school not going to college? Oh, and not the financial and all that, because there's so many ways to get around that. But why are they dropping out of the game of life? Why are they not getting the job? Why aren't people getting the careers, starting the companies, and living fully? We're all here for a reason. I know I'm getting a little way off, but you know what I mean? It's like I am so passionate about this stuff because I know what it's like to commit to constant and never-ending suffering. I know what that feels like. I know what it looks like, and I know that guy. I built that guy within me. I thought it was your fault, but then these principles came into my life, and now and Kristin, you and I know the best way to keep this stuff active in our own lives, to keep practicing these things on a daily basis, is to teach them.
Yeah. Well, and you're also transitioning into a point I wanted to make sure I pointed out to everybody as we're wrapping up this conversation about persistence. One of the key things in practicing persistence that my Michael realized years ago, and actually did his valedictorian speech around this, and the reason that one of the biggest reasons we built Thriving Blind Academy the way we did, is the whole concept, and we'll talk about it in other success principles, of relying on other people, not going about this alone. And part of being persistent with Michael is I've watched him realize when he's up against something, part of the persistence is who can I ask to help me get around this obstacle? He uses that as a major tool. Or who can I partner up with to accomplish this quicker or make more impact? That's what I love about this academy, and Charlie, your passion for it, because people come together to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. How did you get around it? And that's part of the persistence. It's one of the principles too, the ask that we'll get into in a video. But that is part of getting through struggles, obstacles. And then the really cool part is, as the kids are coming into the academy that are part of the families involved here, they're going to watch it being practiced. Just like Charlie, like you said, your daughter's watching you as the role model. When our blind and low vision kids are seeing their parents, educators, people out in the field coming together to support each other and learn information about and helping each other to be persistent, like I said, like my friend Justin says, more is caught than taught. So that looking towards other people is really one of the key things I've seen with Michael in terms of being persistent to achieve what he wants to achieve.
Yeah, and there's so much packed into that last bit and this could go on for another hour, but of course we do these in a series for a reason. and I could tell you one of my affirmations is, I am attracting the right people into my life who are helping me achieve my goals. The next one is, I love helping them achieve their goals. You couldn't have said it any better. Michael finds, seeks, and attracts the people that help him navigate the journey he's on, and he, in turn, helps them navigate their journey. That's how it works. We are not alone. And going at it alone it's never going to be successful. But as a whole, as us, this community we're building, serving, helping, and guiding each other along this amazing journey we're on, that's what gets my butt out of bed every day.
Oh, this has been another great chat. If you've been watching this and it has helped you, and you have people in your world that this can help also, please send this video to them and subscribe to it. Have them subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell that's there so that you are notified as each new video comes up and we dive into these principles. And let's do this journey together in succeeding without sight, in thriving with blindness, and in SuccessAbility.
And don't forget, put your feedback, your comments, and your questions below. We would love to communicate you that way through that way also. And we'll see you soon.